Afternoon, sports fans. PB&Z, your sports chaos, coming at you this week. We're live at our little cafe here in Billerica. And guess what? PB is on vacation, so we got a special guest. You've seen him before. He's our gambling man, G Money, our gambling guru. Didn't you spend some time in Vegas for a while?
I did, yeah. I spent quite a bit of time in Vegas.
You were a bigwig there for a little while, right? A little high roller?
Yeah, I made a couple thousand.
All right.
Spent a couple thousand, but it was still a good time.
There you go. He's got some good insight this week. I've got my pen ready. I got to take some notes. Hey,
welcome.
By the way.
Thank you for having me back.
Hey, you're quite welcome. This week, we're fueled by a beer from the Sun Brewing Company up in York, Pennsylvania. A little beer called the Apostrophe IPA. I actually kind of like this beer a lot. I'm going to buy this
really
one
good.
again. Isn't it, man?
I would.
All right. Let's get right to it. We're going to start off with our 2-minute drill. I'll run the 2-minute drill, give you a little update on some sports news, and then we're going to get right into it. Some football notes. We get a little pro and college. G Money's going to give us some betting picks there, and then we'll just do some sports bets overall as well. First thing, right away, the 2-minute drill. I got to talk about this. The news of the day, in my mind, Josh Gordon is reinstated immediately. I thought for sure he'd be suspended.
Oh yeah, I was shocked. I'm
He could play
happy.
week 1.
It's awesome. He is uber talented. If he's got his mind straight, he's going to have a phenomenal year.
All right. Hey, by the way, Sox, they're not in the main headlines this week, but I will note they did win 2 out of 3 out of another playoff contender, the Indians, who were in first for the wild card, so they look good. After splitting with the Angels, last week we were on the air, they were up 2-0 against the Angels, and then Beer League softball pitcher Andrew Kashner picked the last game.
He's a bum.
And he got lit up. I was there. I texted it right beforehand. I tweeted it out. He's going to get lit up, and sure enough, he did. Got demoted after that. He's in the bullpen. He did pitch 2 games out of the bullpen fairly well, so I don't know.
Maybe that's where he's supposed to be.
Hey, by the way, Rafael Devers, he's on a tear once again. He went 8 straight at-bats with hits, including a game where he had 6 for 6 with 4 doubles. G Money, is he a legitimate MVP candidate?
In my opinion, no. The reason being is his WAR, win over against value replacement is not that great. He's like 4.5, and traditionally the MVP is given to the person with the best WAR. And right now it's Trout with an impressive 7.9 WAR with 40 home runs. So I think it's going to be hard for him to beat Trout. I mean, Trout's a perennial MVP, and this year his numbers are off the charts. So I think I would love him to win, but I don't think he will.
Okay. Yankees, I know we hate to mention them, but they finished the season series versus the Orioles. Speaking of beer league players, the Orioles, they won 16 straight against the Orioles. They were 17-2 for the year. They outscored the Orioles, I'm reading this, 68 by 68 runs. And they hit 61 home runs in 19 games. I'm not a mathematician, G Money, but that's like 3+ home runs a game, is it not?
Yeah, about that. That's insane.
Speaking of the Yankees, I love to have the bad news for the Yankees. Did you hear this one? Their GM, Brian Cashman, he was stopped down in Connecticut. You know why?
Why?
Apparently he was driving a stolen car. It was his car. It was reported stolen.
That's amazing. The crazy things rich people deal with.
Oh, my God. Hey, Adrian Pujols, he set a Major League record this past week. He has the most hits by a foreign-born player, DYK. Who did he pass?
I'm going to guess here, Adrian Beltre.
Adrian Beltre. You are exactly correct. He did. He passed Adrian Beltre. Very nice. All right, man. Hey, by the way, Michael Yastrzemski, you recognize that name? Kyle Yastrzemski's
one of the
grandsons.
best.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle was one of the best, I should say.
He had 3 home runs last night. He's now the 3rd rookie this year to have 3 home runs in a game. By the way, how many 3 home run games did Grandpa Yastrzemski have?
Half dozen?
1! He's tied with his grandfather
That's
already.
insane.
Unbelievable. All right. Last, we got to talk a little bit of golf. Tiger Woods, he's back on the course this weekend. After 2 rounds, he's 48th. He needs to be in the top 10 to qualify for the Tour Championship. G Money, does he have any shot?
I don't think so. His mind's not right. I mean, something, I don't know. Since he won that last, was the Masters, he hasn't been the same. Golf.
So from a betting perspective, he's a poor bet.
Oh, poor bet.
All right. All right. Hey, speaking of poor bets, DeMarcus Cousins, Boogie Cousins, tore his ACL, which is 3rd major injury to the same leg. Does that hurt the Lakers' chances? I mean, they were the Vegas odds favorites.
Yeah, I mean, that just propels the Clippers ahead of them, and no doubt in my mind. I mean, Boogie's lost a step, but he's still better than most centers in the league.
All right. Hey, by the way, the Little League World Series started just the other day. Rhode Island was playing in from the New England regions. They lost to Virginia. But speaking of Rhode Island, they played a New Hampshire team to win the New England regions. Now the New Hampshire team is crying that they were stealing their signs. These are 10-year, 11-year, 12-year-old kids.
We live in an age where kids are entitled. All they do is cry and complain. It really pisses me off.
Everybody gets a trophy.
Yep.
All right, man. All right. Hey,
There's
by
no
the way,
crying in baseball, as they say.
Hey, G Money, can you bet on the Little League World Series?
You can, yeah. Japan.
What? You can bet on the Little League
You
World
can bet
Series?
on anything.
All right, and there's actually odds on
There
this?
are odds. Japan is the favorite at minus 230, so you're gonna bet 100. You gotta bet 230 to win 100. Honestly, they won 5 of the last 10. I think they win. I mean, but it's a lot to obviously put up.
Oh, man. All right. Hey, by the way, the North Carolina girls won the softball Little League World Series the second time ever. Congrats to the ladies.
Nice.
And finally, I got to give a shout out. Every summer we have the Dad's Derby. That's a little home run derby I did with my family on a softball field. I have a lot of softball players. My daughters all played softball. I coached. My son-in-law, Drew, I have to acknowledge, he won it. He hit 7 dingers. He had a corked bat, though, G-Man.
Did he?
Yeah,
Aren't you supposed to check that before you start the derby?
I knew, and he would not let me and my son use the wooden bat. There was something up with it. It was a corked bat.
Oh, yeah.
So congrats, Drew. You won it.
That's one step away from PEDs.
All right, moving on. Football notes. Hey, I got a little DYK for you here. Who's won more NFL championships than Bill Belichick? 6.
I didn't think anybody, but if I had to guess, Lambeau.
Curly Lambeau, you were close. He's tied with 6 along with George Halas and Belichick. The overall leader is Paul Brown with 7.
And most of those were before the Super Bowl era, right?
All of them, yeah. Same with Curly Lambeau and George Halas. That's correct. All right, so this week we had 5 preseason games Thursday. We had 3 last night. G-Money, what did you see that impressed you?
Yeah, those 5 players that caught my eye. Sam Arnold connected with Robbie Anderson. They looked phenomenal.
Okay.
Adrian Peterson, he had some juice in him.
Adrian Peterson, AD is still around.
Yeah, he had a 15-yard run. Juking people, stiff arms, it was crazy.
Right.
Justin Hill and Miles Sanders, they both look good. They're both rookies. They look phenomenal. They're both moved up on the depth chart, in my opinion.
Okay. Wow. Hey, let me ask you a question. What about Josh Rosen and the Joshes, Josh Rosen and Josh Allen? Did you see any of their games?
I didn't, but I read up on the stats a little bit, and Allen's having a good preseason because finally he has weapons. He has John Brown. He's finally got people to throw to. And Rosen is neck and neck as far as I can tell right now with Fitzpatrick.
Whoa, hey, fans, we got a live call in here. Hang on. Hey, welcome to the PBnZ Sports Chaos Show. Who do we have calling?
Hey, it's PB.
Whoa, PB, we thought you were in Miami someplace.
Are you got a suntan right now or what? Laying on the beach?
Definitely down in South Florida, hanging out.
What do you got? What are you calling in with?
I wanted to talk about Josh Gordon.
Oh, all right. We're just going to go in a little more to Josh Gordon. What do you got about Josh Gordon? That's a big news, right?
It is big news. It's good. I think it's good for Josh Gordon to see him get back out on the field in a timely manner for the Patriots, of course.
So, PB, let me ask you a question. When we talked about this last week, we kind of hypothesized, you like that word, G-Money?
Good word.
So we hypothesized that he might be back around week 9. We said he might get 7, maybe 6 games in, depending if the Pats play him. And you said, well, their offense always changes later on in the year. So let me ask you a question. They look like they're going to be ground heavy at the beginning of the year. Out of the gates now, does that change their offense?
I think it does change their offense.
You think they go a little pass happy then?
Well, I mean, you look at this, ready? You have Edelman on one side, maybe on one end, right? Probably in the slot. And then you have someone else on the field, right? Another wide receiver. And that other wide receiver could be one of, 6 or 7 people, right?
Oh, yeah, it's a battle.
We don't know who that's going to be.
Okay.
And that is a below average at best receiving core.
Okay.
There was an article on ESPN that came out a couple weeks ago. Every team's biggest weakness. And hands down, the biggest weakness for the Patriots was pass catchers, right?
Yep.
Obviously, including the void left by
Gronkowski. Yep.
Yeah. So now you put Gordon and Edelman on the field together. Now you're talking about, and I'm saying the best, but potentially one of the top 1-2 punches in the league.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, he could stretch the field. He's got speed.
He can stretch the field.
All
Last year in 12 games, he had 41 catches, 737 yards, 4 TDs. Right? Extrapolate that out, even if he just has the same type of year, he's a 1,000-yard receiver.
Correct. Right.
And they have now those 12 games under their belt, and he's getting back on the practice field tomorrow. So him and Brady shouldn't have as hard a time connecting like they did.
No, because they'll have 2.5 weeks of preseason to go. Right. So for sure.
I got a question for you guys. I heard a rumbling that Gronk has a major announcement on the 27th. Is he announcing that he's going into to acting, or is he announcing he's coming back? You guys have speculation?
It's the release of his book. I do know that. So he's releasing a book, and it's supposed to be the grand release of the book.
Okay, I don't know the details.
I don't. You know what? It's too early. He's not going to come back. If he comes back at all, he's not going to come back till probably week 8, week 9.
I heard he lost 30 pounds. Like he lost a lot of muscle.
He's going to play a stretch tight end. He's going to be out. He's going to be playing what they call a true Y, which means he'll be out on the outside, not in tight, and that's all he'll do. He'll play 25.
I hope he
plays.
comes back for a little half season. I'll be happy with.
Yeah, I would too. All right, PB. Anything else you want to add, brother?
No, I just think when you talk about the season changing as the year goes on, wouldn't that be quite a change to have Gronk all of a sudden taking snaps somewhere, on the field, maybe halfway through the season or something, and just how that would disrupt entire defensive.
Oh yeah, they wouldn't be able to plan for us. They'd be thrown off.
Well, that and the other one for me, the other wild card is still going to be Demaryius Thomas. Okay. If he's anything near what he was 3 years ago,
he was phenomenal 3 years ago.
Playing with Brady like he was with Peyton, right? So we'll see. All right, brother. Hey, listen, enjoy your time down in Florida. We'll see you next week for our fantasy football episode.
Nice talking with you, PB.
Looking forward to it. Yep, PB signing off.
All right,
later, buddy.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Hey, let me ask you a question, brother.
Yep.
Cowboys, Zeke is still holding out. Rumors now that Dak Prescott wants more money than Carson Wentz, which is around $36 million a year for Carson. Is he worth that?
No way Dak is worth more than $30 million. He's not a top 10 QB, in my opinion, so he shouldn't get top 10 QB pay. I mean, I think he's top 15, but not top 10.
All right, I kind of agree with you there. Hey, what about Zeke, man?
Zeke should get paid. He's a top 5 running back, no doubt in my mind. He should get top 5 running back money. Now, if he's asking for the top tier, like the number 1, I don't know about that. But if he's in the average of top 5, I think he's worth it.
So in reality, though, if Jerry Jones is the businessman everybody says, the reality is Zeke is done for 4 years. He's got 2 more years of salary, and then in theory they could franchise him 2 times. So he's 4 years. He can't play football for 4 years in theory.
He has no leverage.
No, it's not like Le'Veon Bell, who was actually a free agent,
right? Yeah, no, he has 0 leverage. I think they should make him a reasonable offer, and he should take it.
Let me ask you a question. The last team to win the Super Bowl and lead the league in rushing, who was that?
I'm going to guess Baltimore Ravens 2000.
Ooh, you would be a good guess, but you'd be off by about 15 years. It was the Bears in 1985.
Really?
Let me throw one other thing at you. Who was the last running back to win the rushing title and win a Super Bowl?
I think I know this one. Terrell Davis, 1997.
Ooh, 98 too as well. Yeah, I think it was both years, if I'm not mistaken, right? Nice, all right. All right, let's get right into this, brother. Betting picks. Who are your 2 picks right now to play in the AFC Championship game?
Colts and the Pats. And I have odds on both. If the Colts win the Super Bowl, it's plus 1250, so you put 100 to win 1250. If the Pats, it's 100 to win 740. I'm going to put a bet on both of them because I think one of those 2 have a good potential to win the Super Bowl.
There you go, fans. There's your 2 picks already. Wow. What about the whole Andrew Luck situation?
He's got a calf injury. That's not as problematic for a QB as a running back or a wide receiver. I'm not concerned. I think he'll be fine.
By the way, that's what Golden State said about Kevin Durant. Look what happened.
Well, but yeah, he's going to jump. I mean, he doesn't have to jump. He just throws the ball.
By the way, who's your 2 picks for the NFC Championship game?
I like the Packers and the Eagles. And if they were to win the Super Bowl, the Packers are plus 2,050 and the Eagles are plus 1,250. So if you put 50 on those 4 games, if you put 50 on those 4 teams, you're going to make money. There's no doubt in my mind.
All right. I'm going to play a little game with you.
Yep.
It's called Contender Pretender, right? I'm going to just assume the Pats, Chiefs, I got the Rams and the Saints in the playoffs regardless. I'm going to ask you about 5 other teams from each league.
Sure.
Who's the contender? Who's the pretender? Let's start with the AFC. Cleveland.
They're a contender. I'm on the bandwagon. I think they're loaded with talent.
Ravens.
Pretender. They lost 4 good defensive players, and they didn't adequately replace them.
PB would agree with you on that one. Pittsburgh.
They're a contender. I mean, they're better. They're actually, people are underestimating them this year. First time in a long time.
All right. Chargers again?
Pretender. Their offensive line is garbage, and Melvin Gordon's probably not going to play.
Jaguars?
They're a contender. They have a phenomenal defense, and finally they have a QB that's half decent.
All right. And then the last one last year is Titans.
Pretender. Their QB can't stay healthy, and they lost some talent.
All right, there you go. NFC. Bears?
Contender. Their defense is solid. They got a decent offense. They're going far. I mean, they're going to make at least second.
But they won't make the championship game.
They won't make the championship game.
Falcons.
They're the hardest one to predict. I was initially thinking Contender, and then the preseason game that just happened, they had 4 sacks on Matty Ice with the starting offensive line. So their O-line's a big question mark. So if their O-line holds up, they're a Contender. If their O-line plays like the preseason, they're a Pretender.
All right, I got to ask you a question. Cowboys.
Pretender.
So, by the way, this is G Money's last appearance on the show. Really? You say Pretender?
Honestly, it's no jab towards you. They have too many question marks. They have all the holdout of Zeke. They have Dak, asking ridiculous money. There's way too much controversy going on right now, and they also lost some talent from last year. They lost their slot receiver.
That's right. Yeah, Cole Beasley went to the Bills. Eagles, you like them?
They're a Contender. They're potentially a Super Bowl candidate.
Falcons. So you're a little concerned about Matty Ice, but Falcons. Oh, I already asked you. I'm sorry. Packers.
They're a Contender. If Aaron Rodgers stays healthy, they win the Super Bowl. Their defense got a lot better. They added 3 significant pieces to their defense. They got probably top 5 defense now.
All right, last one last year is the Panthers.
They're a Contender. They're going far.
You believe they're a Contender, right?
Yeah,
so
because
Cam Newton makes a comeback.
He's looked great in training camp and preseason. Well, he hasn't played preseason, but training camp, he looked phenomenal.
Wow. All right. Moving on, fantasy football. I know you're doing your draft this tomorrow, correct?
Yep.
Next week, the PBnZ show is doing a fantasy football show. By the way, let's talk about it. Who are your top picks in fantasy right now?
I got Barkley.
Saquon Barkley.
Yep, Kamara McCaffrey.
McCaffrey, okay.
Beckham and Hopkins. Those are my top 5. 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers. And I think this year what I'm doing is I'm focused on run back and wide receivers the first 5 rounds. Because wide receiver and run back depth is very thin this year as a result of holdouts, injuries. I'm not getting a QB till probably round 6 or later. I'm not getting a tight end to round 10. I think tight end and QB are extremely, there's a ton of talent out there. I mean, the difference between number 5 QB and the number 15 QB is minimal.
So you already told us your running backs and your wide receivers that's going to be your picks. Who's your quarterback if you get anybody?
Deshaun Watson. He's gonna be number 1 this year.
Watson, really?
Yep.
I don't even know. I have to look at my notes. We actually had him in our top 10 2 weeks ago. Ooh, okay.
I just feel like Patrick Mahomes is gonna have a phenomenal year. He'll be top 3, but he's not gonna match last year's numbers.
All right, I've heard that news a lot. What about defense? If you had to pick a defense, who is it?
The Packers, like I said, they've added a ton of talent.
It's a long time anybody's talked about the Packers defense before. But
I think they're gonna surprise a lot of people.
All right. Kicker? Would you pick a kicker?
The dude from Baltimore. His name escapes me, but he's by far the best kicker in football.
Let me ask you a question about fantasy football. I don't play it. I follow it a little bit, but why is the running back the top position? It is the top position in fantasy, right?
Yeah, it is a top position. There's a few reasons. One, a running back has a potential to get yards and points by running and by catching.
Okay.
And if it's a PBR league where it's points per reception, they get points for catching it as well as the running. And secondly, and this can't be understated, is running backs typically a lot of teams, I'd say at least half the teams do running back by committee. So if you could find a true value running back that has 300 carries, that's the primary focus of their team, then they're hard to find. I mean, there's not a lot of them. So that's why they're more valuable, because it's harder to find that true bell horse running back than it is to find a true bell horse wide receiver.
Gotcha. It's interesting how the NFL deviates versus fantasy. In the NFL, the running back is such a low. I mean, right now I'm getting a little stat here. NFL on average pays $7.2 million to all the running backs on their rosters. So all 32 teams, they pay $7.2 million. So it's interesting. Hey, let's switch gears here. Let's talk a little college football. You like a little college football?
Love college football.
So Bama, are they the preseason pick right now?
I think Clemson. You gotta go with the defending champs.
All right, so it's Clemson, then Bama, right?
Yep.
And then I guess Georgia, right? Is that
Georgia be the 3rd, and then my 4th for the playoffs. It's a dark horse, but I really think this is their year. I don't like them. I hate them, but I'm thinking with my brain here. Michigan. Michigan's going to be the 4th team.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Oh, there goes my notes.
Right. Michigan's going to be the 4th team. And actually, if you wanted to...
Harbaugh makes the playoffs.
Yeah. And actually, if you wanted to take a chance and wager some money, if you bet Michigan $100 to win $15.25 if they win the championship. It might be worth a wager.
$100, you win $15.25
if they win. Yep.
Wow. All right. Who's the Heisman pick?
I think Trevor Lawrence. I've seen a lot out of him. He's plus 225 odds, so you can win a couple. You can double your money at plus some if you take him, and I think he's the prohibitive favorite.
Who else is in the running for that? Tua, obviously.
Tua, and then Jonathan Taylor from Wisconsin. He had back-to-back 1,900-yard years. I mean, I think he's going to get his due. I mean, I think he's in the running.
What about Jake Fromm from State Farm?
I think Jake Fromm's a game manager more than a stat guy, and they like stat guys, as far as the Heisman's concerned.
Let me ask you about a guy that a lot of people talk about. Well, I'm going to ask you this about number 1 pick this year from a quarterback position. What about Justin Herbert from Oregon?
I love him. I mean, he's a big mobile guy,
6'6", 240.
I think the problem with him is he doesn't get the media coverage of a Tua. So Tua is in the spotlight in Alabama. His numbers are gaudy. Yeah. He showed ability to win. So I think it's going to be hard for Justin to pass him in the depth chart as far as number 1 pick. But I think as far as solid NFL careers, Justin will have a better career.
All right, man. Moving on. Hey, real quick, we will have a college football show on Labor Day weekend live from Boston College at our tailgating event there.
Oh, that's cool.
We'll be doing a show.
It's a good time. I've been to the tailgating events with him. It's fun.
All right. Hey, what's the best sport to bet on?
Hands down, football, and more specifically, NFL.
NFL football.
If you want to win money, you bet NFL. The reason being is you get less games to choose from. It's a variable like anything else. So there's 16 games NFL. You pick half of them. Your odds of winning are much better than if there's 50 college games in a given weekend and you choose half of them. So if your ability to, if you just choose one game, it's one thing. But if you like action like me, then NFL is the way to go because there's less games to pick from. So your odds of winning are better.
There you go, sports fans. Hey, big fight tonight in the UFC this weekend. We got Daniel Cormier versus, if I say this right, Stipe Miocic.
Well done.
Well done. Who do you like there?
Cormier. He's a beast. He's insane. He's a big boy with a powerful
What's
punch.
the line on that? Do you have a line on that?
I don't have that line.
Okay, but you like him.
I do like him.
Hey, I got to ask you, in baseball right now, where's the money for the AL Championship? Stros or Yankees? What do you got?
Stros are -110, and I think there's a good reason for that. They're the most talented team in baseball right now, from top to bottom, and their pitching's phenomenal. And Yankees are +257 if they win the AL. So I mean, the Yankees, their lineup's insane. So if you wanted to, if you had little extra cash in the pocket, it's not a bad bet to do the Yankees. But I think the Astros are where the money's at.
All right, how about this one? Dodgers versus the NL field.
You got to go with the Dodgers, man. The Dodgers are heads and shoulders above everyone else in the NL, hands down.
All right. Last one I'm going to ask you, brother. We'll finish it off this weekend with, do the Sox make the playoffs?
As a fan, I think yes. As a realist, I think no. I mean, they're too far behind. The odds are plus 2250.
So what does that mean? If
you bet 100, you win 2250 if they make the playoffs.
So to me, I'm not a betting guy, but that sounds like pretty poor odds.
Vegas does not think they're making the playoffs.
Right, you heard that right here.
And I tend to agree, unfortunately. Rays and Cleveland too far ahead.
All right, sports fans, thank you very much, G-Money, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Perspective on betting.
Appreciate you guys
Next
tuning
weekend,
in.
We'll have our fantasy football. The following weekend, live from BC, will be our college football show. Have a great weekend. Nice brew here from Sun Brewing.
Have a great weekend, guys. Thank you.